no further ado, just to get it out of the way. All right, there we go.
And these
Got
are all
it.
things that Jose says to me every morning. He just loves texting these to me.
But I put good morning in front of it.
You do at the end. And then at the end of the
Right.
day,
And mi
have a
amor.
good day. Yeah, as long as you put amor at the end. We're fine.
Yeah.
Kisses.
Welcome back to Not a Strong Start, a podcast by filmmakers who talk movies, television, and just love interrupting the other person when they're right about to start. I'm your host, 2022 Dan, because I time traveled in this one. These are my co-hosts.
I remember.
Oh, okay. I'm Chuck.
And I'm Jorge the Vato.
Hey. So in this week's episode, we wanted to recap the best movies of 2022, our own personal list. But first, we're going to hit them with a current event.
There's rumors flying around that Aaron Taylor Johnson is possibly the front runner for 007 and has met with producers and possibly even done an audition already for them. What do you guys think about Aaron Taylor Johnson as possibly the future 007?
I like him as an actor, man. Yeah, he's good. He's super good. I liked him in what he's done. I'm sure. Let's see.
Yeah, he's got the look, you know, and I know they mentioned like they wanted someone that was famous but not too famous, and he kind of fits that mold. I guess we'll see where it goes, because I guess he's got a movie coming out with Ryan Gosling and Craven the Hunter. So
yep,
see how that works. But he's got the look. He's a good actor. I'm cool with it. So.
Yeah, he's super versatile. Like, the kid's done a bit of everything. He's been a superhero. He's done the dramatic stuff. Like, I think back to one of my favorite things he's done was like Savages. It wasn't that great of a film, but like you would never know that he was the guy in that, like the dreadlock pothead drug dealing dude who also was Kick-Ass, but then also in the freaking Christopher Nolan film with Pattinson and stuff. I can't remember the name.
Tenet.
Yeah. He's done a bit of everything, and you never notice that as him. Money Train, he killed it in that movie. Like, I think he's a top-notch actor. Yeah, did I say Money Train?
Yeah,
he said Money Train.
J-Lo, I mean, there was a train, there was money.
Yeah, that's true. He was great in Nocturnal Animals.
Dude, you guys so good in Nocturnal Animals.
Such a great
he was
villain.
Pretty unrecognizable in that. I think he got nominated for a Golden Globe too for that. So
I think he's underrated of an actor, honestly.
Yeah, I think so too.
I agree. I would like it if he did get cast. He's got the look. He's got the physical build, I think, to play the character. I think
he has the hot body.
Yeah, he's got the hot body. Check.
That's necessary.
Yeah. But I feel he can pull out the charisma, charm, suaviness that we got with like Pierce Brosnan, and then he can pull out the physicality, that we got with the newer James Bond. So I think it could be a good blend of the last two.
And he's young, so I'm kind of excited to see like this younger version of Bond again. It gives you time to really tackle him earlier at his stage, of his career, and like let's see it. You guys ready to get into our greatest list?
Let's do it.
All right. Very first category. So the way we're going to do this, we're going to separate it by genres. So the very first one is best horror movie.
I had two of them. One of them was Morbius.
You're doing the same thing Jose does. There are no second runner-ups. There's only one.
I'm just joking. I said it was Morbius. That was a joke.
Oh, okay. No. Too late. You already locked it in. He loves Morbius.
No.
He loves Morbius. Boom, boom.
He wants a part two.
I was the same thing with George. I was thinking about this before I answer real quick. Someone said it. I watched a lot more TV than I did movies this year, because when I was looking at movies, I was like, didn't see this, didn't see that, didn't see this. And I'm like, I didn't see anything. But I still think, even though I didn't see that much horror, that this one was the best one. X. I know they had Pearl, but X, I liked X better because it was the first one. It was different. It was original. It was scary. It was about porn.
Everything Chuck wants.
Yeah, everything that I wanted in a movie, or everything I wanted in a porn movie. I want to, to be horror, but I guess I had
Kid Cudi. And had Kid Cudi.
Did it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even watch the movie, and I knew that.
Yeah. All right, so I'll piggyback off of Chuck's then because I chose Pearl. So X was awesome. It was more of your traditional horror movie. Pearl I loved because I loved the way that Ty West directed this movie. It felt a lot more cinematic, but it was more of a psychological horror to me. It was like a character piece, which that's totally my type of horror. Like I love The Shining, so Pearl kind of fit more in line with that, and I loved it. So Pearl was awesome. Ty West, I like this whole trilogy that he's doing. I'm excited to see the third one he's gonna do. So
What's the third one called?
I don't know yet.
Oh,
I don't know yet.
isn't it like Maxine or something with the 3 X's?
Seems fitting.
Yeah,
It also could be a made up fact.
I'm staring at Jose like, is he
No,
lying?
no. I think it's like Maxine. It's a name, and then it's the X in the middle. It's actually 3 X's instead of the regular 1 X.
So who's Maxine? Who's this
It's
character?
Vin Diesel's sister from the movie
I mean,
Triple X.
so it's a shared universe.
Yep.
Got it.
Yeah, it is
How
Maxine.
How did I not
It's
know that was
Maxine.
Kid Cudi, dude? He's literally one of my dude.
Yeah.
That's how good he was. And you know, he's got the mustache and everything.
Yeah, you didn't even know?
I didn't even realize it was him, dude.
And Jenna Ortega's in it. So Wednesday.
Yeah.
Wednesday's in it too. So good stuff.
Like Chuck, I was disappointed in myself. I didn't get to watch much horror this year, but the one I did get to see was Barbarian. and I say I liked it a lot. I wish I'd saw X and Pearl. It's on my list to see, but Barbarian took me by surprise. I only saw like a couple trailers for it, and it was one of those things that brought me back to like, remember Nightmare on Elm Street when you're watching the first character and you think, oh, this is the main character of the movie, and then she dies, and you're like, oh, okay, she's not the main character. Same thing with Scream. And this movie starts off that way, where you're following these two people, and you're like, all right, these are my main characters, and like probably a third of the film in, then all of a sudden they're gone, and now we're following Justin Long's character. It's like, oh wait, okay, he's the main character. But then it flips it again. It's like, no, it's not him. It was that chick from the beginning.
Got you again.
It's like, she's back, and it was just, it was one of those things like it felt dirty. It felt like a dirty film. While X was a dirty film, this felt grimy. Like you're underground. There's this mongoloid creature and some like backwoods deliverance kind of stuff happening, and I loved every bit of it, and I love how it was shot, and the ending was unbelievable but still good. Which, granted, it's a horror film, it's not supposed to be believable, but there's certain parts I was like, you should have died.
Yeah, see, mine was actually Pearl also, which you covered pretty well. The only thing I will add is like I think one of the things that I really enjoyed, which put that one over X for me because I enjoyed X, was I believe what's her name, Mia Goth, like
Mia
the
Goth.
main actress. Like her performance and the way you see the progression, the increase in insanity of her character as the movie goes on, really sold me on this movie, and I think that was my favorite part of it. So I would have to go with Pearl.
Yeah, just to add on that last scene of Mia Goth when you're seeing the ending credits was what put the movie over the top for me, where I just thought phenomenal acting, man. Phenomenal acting. And when you guys see it, you guys will know what I'm talking about. So
cool. I like Barbarian better. I forgot about it.
More than I've been seeing your face. Like Chuck wants to see something so bad right now.
Yeah, and you know what? And I went. It was on HBO, right? It was on HBO, right? Okay, but I went to the movies to watch it because I wanted to have a movie experience and watch a horror movie, and I loved it, and I totally forgot about it. So, Barbarian.
Good. All right. So let's hit him with the worst then. So, Jose, we'll start off with you. What was the worst horror movie you saw?
All right.
Jose's so ready for this because I can read it in his eyes.
It was a Netflix movie, and it was called Choose or Die on there, and it was absolutely horrendous. It was right up there with like Truth or Dare, in just horribleness. And basically, the whole concept of it is there was this old video game that makes you make a choice. If you don't make a choice, you die. So the concept of it had potential. The total execution and in the second half of that movie just completely falls off, and it was a horrible experience.
Yeah, it was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. God, that movie was
I didn't
awful.
see it.
You didn't see it? Oh, it was so bad.
Likewise.
Yeah.
Wait, was it dirty? Was it grimy?
It was just not good. I don't really have a lot of words to describe it other than it was stupid.
Good.
Yeah, I mean, there were some things that were okay, but for it to be like, oh, this is gonna be like the sequel to the original, it was such a huge disappointment. If it was just one, you know what? Nah, it still would have sucked if it was just one in the franchise. It still would have sucked. But bringing back the girl from the first one was a complete disappointment. What a waste! It completely wasted her. So yeah, no, that was the worst one, and only because it was the worst one only because I sat through it and watched the whole thing. Like I saw some movies that I watched like 20 minutes of and I rage quit, so those aren't even on my list. But I sat through this one and it was awful. So
Okay, fair enough. So
I do agree that one was bad. They built up this character from the original, and then they just completely like screw the pooch, completely mess it up.
I don't know.
that
No,
pooch got
that's much
screwed.
better.
That pooch got screwed.
Yeah, they completely like just mess it up and do this build up for nothing. But I will give this movie this. There's this one scene. There was a really badass kill scene inside of a bus.
Oh, that was good.
So I will give it that scene alone is worth watching.
Okay, good. You sold me, George.
Not watching it.
Yeah.
For me, it was a Hulu film, and it was The Grim Cuddy. And it was very much to like same vein in what Jose was saying. It's like there was a lot of potential with this movie, with the idea of the kids watching this video on their phone on this app or whatever, and then all of a sudden the creature from the video comes to life and starts killing them, but the adults can't see it. And honestly, what I think it came down to is bad editing. I think if they edited it differently, it could have been a good movie. But with how things were placed in the film and the pacing, it messed it all up.
Makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, I saw that one, George, and I agree. Especially at the beginning, I was all in. I'm like, this
Right?
great
Yeah.
concept. This entity is creepy. Everything's going well, and then after like the first 30 minutes, there just was no stakes
Yeah.
in it.
Yeah.
They completely eliminated the stakes. So you're watching the rest of the movie, really not worried about anything bad happening.
And the biggest thing for me, it's like I wanted that mystery of like, wait, is this real or is it her? Is the girl the killer? Is it in her head? Like I wanted that to last longer, but they within the first half hour, it's like, oh, okay, it's not her, it's real. All right.
Can't believe you guys both watched the worst horror movie of the year.
Sorry.
Okay. All right. So the movie that I went with was Scream 5. The new Scream movie. It was terrible. It was dumb. It was the exact same thing that all the other Scream movies did. And I use that as a reference because when we saw the new Evil Dead trailer, we had a discussion in our chat about it, because they kind of break. Yeah, because they broke outside of the whole cabin, and that was a whole discussion that we had, but at least they're trying something different. And I said, at least they're not going to go stale like Scream did. And Scream 5 did the exact same thing. It's done in every movie. It's so predictable. I knew who the killers were by the end. It was so obvious. It's just copy and paste. That's it.
That's the same thing George and I discussed when we were talking about the trailer. It was like, it looks like the new one is offering finally something fresh, which has me intrigued.
All right, let's start off with actions.
For action, I'm sure at least one other person probably has this one, but I'm out to go with Top Gun Maverick.
I knew it. I knew it.
For the action. This movie was just a heavy surprise. It's one of those movies that it topped the original, which is not something
stop
you
there,
see.
And then we have to continue your compliment and try to finish your sentence for you since we all had the exact same.
Right? Because is it us three? You, Chuck? Are you in it too? No. So there's three of us. I called it, Jose. I told you at least three of us would have this as best action.
George, you continue Jose's compliment.
All right, what was the last thing Jose said? I was so in it. I was just so in the moment right now.
I mentioned how it topped the original is not something you see too often.
Yeah, because the original, it was good. We loved it from the 80s, but at the end, it really has felt like a long music video. Not this one. This one elevated all the stakes, all the emotions, all the characters.
And then it had really good characters. It had really good heart in this story, which definitely improved on the first one because the first one felt a little surface level. This one, they actually hit the depths of the characters, and I enjoyed it. And it had very good high stakes, much better than the first one. Jose, did you want to finish off anymore?
No, I think that pretty much covers it all. And plus, all the flight scenes and the action scenes were really entertaining, and they were badass.
Meant to watch in the theater. This is not watch at home kind of movie. Watch this in the theater on the biggest screen you can.
I saw it on my Apple Watch.
And this is why you didn't put it as your best film. That's
exactly. That's why it's not your favorite action. We just deciphered it. All right, Chuck, hit us with your best action.
Okay, I'm gonna combine them because I don't want to jump to the back of the line again, right? Because both my movies
have two movies.
No. My best and worst action movies both have transportation in it. So the best one for me was Bullet Train. I love Bullet Train. Has our boy in it, James Bond. I loved it. I thought it was funny. I thought it was clever. I love the dialogue. It's Brad Pitt. The worst action movie was a recommendation by some dipshiznit Schnoggin on our podcast who said Ambulance was a pretty good movie. I mean, so I watched it last night. Awful. I watched it on ×2 and it was still bad.
Who's in Ambulance? Who's in Ambulance?
Jake Gyllenhaal and the other guy, the black dude. Love both those guys. So I'm like, it's gonna be good. And someone on our podcast recommended it, said it was a pretty good movie, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll check it out. Why are you looking like that, Jose? Look at Jose. Look at him. He's like, was it me? Was it me? Yeah, it was you.
See, you misinterpret the words. All right, I didn't say it was a good movie. I said it was an entertaining Michael Bay movie.
Yeah, it was not. The Rock, entertaining. Bad Boys.
Are you not entertained?
And he referenced his movie like 3 or 4 times in there. Did you catch that?
He referenced his own
Bad
movie?
Boys. They referenced The Rock.
I mean, I'm not surprised he recycles scenes from his other movies.
No, but he legit directly referenced lines from his other movies, and then he's got like these drone shots like throughout the whole movie. Oh my god, awful.
Okay,
all right. I want to
Jose,
piggyback off of that. Off of that right there. For my worst movie,
I don't know what you guys are doing in Boston, but you're not having as much fun in California because that was not entertaining, dude. Okay.
I mean, Chuck, I can't fully trust your judgment, so.
I mean, you're half asleep. You're watching it on an iWatch. Come on, man.
And I was cursing Jose the whole time that I was watching it. I'm like, dude, got me, dude. You got me.
He got me again.
He got me.
Jose, do your ears hurt often? Because Chuck is cursing you while watching movies. I'm cursing you while putting these damn lists together.
And I'm just cursing at Jose just for the hell of it.
Yeah.
I stubbed my toe. Damn it, Jose.
Feel like I haven't cursed Jose out today.
Yeah. There's a quota. All right. So
yeah. Like I said, I want to piggyback off of Chuck.
Mm-hmm.
So Chuck mentioned the drone shots in that movie. For my worst action film, I actually picked The Gray Man, which is also on Netflix. And for me, some of the worst things were the drone shots. It was like the Russo brothers just discovered what a drone camera was. And they're like, well, I got to use the crap out of this thing. And it was like the first time, all right, that's a cool shot. 20 shots later, it's like, oh, we're still doing that same thing again. Okay. And going back to Ambulance, I think Ambulance utilized those shots way better than the Russo brothers did. I got to give Michael Bay credit. It's like he understands how to do an action scene. Like he understands the camera is a character of its own. And those certain shots are really dope in that movie. But in The Gray Man, oh my God, that should have been such a dope movie. And it was bad. It was so bad. There was no one for me to like except for Ana de Armas because she's just wonderful and I can't hate on her ever.
Yeah, I had the same one, Gray Man. It was just I watched it and like I would say about the next day, I almost completely forgot what the movie was about. It's just so forgettable. Like I still can't even tell you what the movie's about anymore. And
it's getting a sequel. It's getting a sequel.
It's like,
I think it's getting its own like universe, right? I mean, if it's still
probably. All right, Jose.
I'm gonna have to go with there was a movie called Carter on Netflix, and this is probably one of the worst action movies I've ever seen. To the point that I pulled a Chuck and I didn't like walk away per se. I stopped looking at the TV for the last like 45 minutes. And every time I looked up, I just got more upset. So I just had to do like
Jeez.
other things. It's called Carter. So this movie it's 2 hours and 10 minutes long.
Ugh.
About 5 minutes in, the action starts and never stops for the next 2 hours. It's literally nonstop action sequence for about 2 hours. And it tries to frame it as a one shot in it, but it's of course it's not a one shot.
Yeah.
And the way it transitions, where they obviously cut, they transition in a way where it looks really bad CGI, and it's visually unappealing, it's uninteresting, and it was just like literally one of the worst action movies I've ever seen.
That was
Love
one
it.
with what, John David Washington?
I don't even know
Or
who the hell is in
Denzel
it
Washington's
anymore.
son, the ones in Amsterdam and stuff.
No, this is
Oh,
actually
no.
it's a foreign movie.
Oh, okay. Confused with
I don't
Nelson.
remember what country it was from, but it was on Netflix. I think it's Korean. It's a Korean movie, Korean action
Oh,
movie.
okay.
That's
Yeah,
interesting.
way off, George.
Well, no, I know he was in a movie that was like it was a one name movie, and it was similar to that. That's why I asked.
No, he's
So
probably
all
a black,
so
black
all
Korean.
movies that have a one name movie all sound the same to you, George.
No,
Is that what it
like
is?
a person
I'm
name.
totally kidding. I'm
Mother.
kidding. I'm kidding. All right, George, hit us with the best comedy. Would you like best comedy of
Best
2022?
comedy. All right. For me, it had to be Nick Cage's massive talent film. Man,
Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. That's what I
yeah,
had to.
it was so good. It was a movie that easily could have been really bad, and it could have
Mhm.
been the mark of like, this is why no one likes Nick Cage, but it proved why everyone should like Nick Cage.
Yes.
And it wasn't just also like that he did really good. There was really good like CGI and camera work in that movie that you wouldn't expect to see in a comedy. Like
Mhm.
the
A lot of drone
doubles.
work, a lot of drone camera work.
There was a couple shots. Yeah. I mean, every movie has it now. Not
Ambulance does.
gonna get me, son. But no, it was Nick Cage at his finest, man. And to be honest, I think you guys may have mentioned it before, and this is very true. Freaking Pedro Pascal steals the show,
Yep.
which is very hard to do when Nick Cage is right next to you.
And Nick Cage is being Nick Cage. That was my
Yeah.
note. Nick Cage is being Nick Cage, and Pedro Pascal did a better. I liked him more in the movie. I thought he did such a good job.
Good. He was so
Mhm.
good.
Yeah.
And that's the-
So
their chemistry together in that was really strong. So there was like just the scenes between them. I was like, all right, I can keep watching this. Like even if we
Yeah.
don't progress the story anymore, like I could keep seeing
Yeah.
them interact together.
Yeah.
I want a
So
whole
that was
television
also my
series.
choice.
Right?
Yeah, it was my. I want a television series of this. I want to see these guys all the time. Yeah, I had the same one. So how about you, Chuck?
I get confused on how to pronounce it. The Banshees of Inisherin.
So good, you
Banshees.
couldn't get the
Is that-
title down.
Is that a real movie?
Banshees of
The one with Colin
Inisherin.
Farrell. Yeah.
Did you guys watch this? Did you
Wow,
guys
I'm
see that?
surprised you
haven't.
watched that.
I've,
All
I've
right.
been told to watch it. I was hurt. I heard it was good.
What do you mean surprised I watched it? What are you talking about, George?
Because it's a good movie. That's why I'm just surprised. I'm just
What are you laughing at, Dan? No, I can't think of the director's name. Is it McDowell? I don't know. He's good though. He did In Bruges, Seven Psychopaths.
Yeah.
I think he did The Favorite, which I didn't like. I'm not sure. But those two guys, I mean, from In Bruges, Brendan Gleeson, I think, Colin Farrell, they're so good. And it's such a funny movie, you know, like it's just very well written, well set, really well acted. But yeah, that to me was the best comedy of the year. I was dying. And what's his name's in it? Dude from the Eternals and Batman, the Joker.
Yeah. Yep. I know who you're talking about. I don't know his name.
I can't think of his name.
Kogan. Barry
Yes.
Kogan.
Yes,
That's
Barry
it.
Keoghan, Barry
Yep.
Kogan.
Kogan.
Dude,
Yeah.
he's so funny in that movie, dude. He plays like the
Is he?
town idiot. He's so good, dude. Movie's worth it just for watching him. So that was my best comedy of the year.
All right, cool. So to start off with the worst, I'll start off. For me, it was the movie Amsterdam. Not that the movie was so bad, but I started to watch it. I had to stop. I picked it back up from where I left off. I had to stop. I picked it up a third time. I had to stop, and I'm only like about a third of the way in, and I'm just not going to go back to finish it. You know, David O. Russell, like you have Christian Bale's good in it. You have Margot Robbie. You have David Washington in it. all three really good actors, but it feels like you're kind of wasting them a little bit. The story just didn't get me. I just didn't care. I just really didn't care. I just kept losing interest, and I just couldn't even finish the movie.
Yeah, that's sad. It's packed with a lot of actors too.
It is. It is.
It's funny. I haven't gone back to it either. I think I made it about 20 minutes in,
Yeah.
and I was like, I gotta take a break. I got things to do. I'll go back to it. It hasn't happened.
And are you going to?
No, probably not.
No.
Yeah, we talked about it when it was coming out, and we were like, yeah, should we? And I'm like, I don't know.
You did. Like, you called it.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, it's David O. Russell. He usually does really good. All-star cast. Like, at least their acting and charisma will carry over. But when you watch the movie, it's a lot of just visual, nice, stimulation. The characters are trying to be, charismatic in their scenes, but you just don't. I just didn't care. I didn't care about the characters. Yeah, so you're right, Chuck.
That's a good pick, Dan. That's a good pick.
Thank you. All right, Chuck, who's your worst?
It's a movie I didn't see. It's Spirited, Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, yes, the Christmas one.
Yeah.
Yes, because it keeps coming every time I turn on my Apple TV, it comes up and it annoys me, and I got to see a trailer for it, and it looks really stupid, and I hate it, and it bugged me for like 6 weeks straight. Because every time I turn it on, Spirited, and they're dancing and singing, and I'm like, I hate this movie. Worst comedy of the year for me.
Fair enough.
For me, the worst had to have been The Bubble. The Bubble.
Bubble Boy with Jake Gyllenhaal? That's so good, dude.
Yeah, that one, that Bubble. Yep. It was so bad it carried on through the decades. But no, the Netflix The Bubble. That one had Pedro Pascal in it again, and a star-studded cast, but it was just like where the cast just wasn't going to carry it. Judd Apatow film, and
really,
it was.
I didn't even heard of that movie.
Yeah, I don't think
it was on Netflix.
It was on Netflix. Yeah,
it was. We've never heard of it. Jose talked about it.
Really?
Who else was in it?
You had Keegan Michael Key was in it. It had
yes,
Judd Apatow's wife. I can't remember her name now.
Yes,
Fred Armisen.
Leslie Mann.
Yeah.
Leslie
yes,
Mann,
I saw that.
Yeah,
I didn't like it.
It should have been really good though.
You watched it, Dan?
I don't even think I finished it. I think I saw like 20-30 minutes of it. It was the same thing. I was like, I'm out.
Oh man, I watched the whole thing, and it doesn't get any better. Actually, it ends like how Tropic Thunder ended, and I just feel it's like, well, Tropic Thunder did this better. Like, you didn't do anything better than what they did.
My worst is also The Bubble, and it's just when you have a cast like that, you can't waste a cast like that. How can you make a cast like that full of people who have shown comedic timing and be able to pull this off and then not be funny? Like the only times in that movie that I even like just smirked a little, usually it was because of Pedro Pascal.
Yeah.
Because he stole the scenes that he was in, and that's the only thing the movie has going for it.
Okay.
So, although I did laugh when Leslie Mann got her hand shot off. That made me laugh.
Oh, I might watch it for that then.
I have dark humor, so that's what got me.
That's the nepotism at its finest right there. So
yeah.
Okay. All right. So best sci-fi. I'll start off with this one. Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah.
Love that movie.
Yeah.
Loved it. I mean, we already know why. It was so creative. They did the multiverse better than Doctor Strange did. It was it's great to see Short Round in it, like his little resurgence. I want to see him more in it, but the movie was so clever, man. It was really good, hilarious. It was clever. The shots was really good. It was made very, very well. It was more of like a mid to lower independent film in terms of budget. Just phenomenal, man. Phenomenal all around. I recommend it for everybody to watch. That movie's so good. So
yeah, that was my favorite also. And it only ended up in sci-fi because it's a very multi-layered genre film.
Mm-hmm.
You could easily have put this in drama. It could have been in action.
Yeah.
It could have been in comedy or a family movie. Like, it touches everything. I was talking to Jen, my wife, about this, and I was like, this may be my new Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah.
Because it's a movie that hits all of my notes that I want from a movie. With this movie, like, I had every emotion run through me when I watched it. Like, I laughed. I literally cried. I was actually on the plane when I was watching this. And like Jen is next to me. She's sick from the flight. And I'm over here like trying to like keep her calm while wiping my ear, my eyes. I'm like, is this movie's not gonna make me get like this right now in front of people? It was so freaking good. And now I hope the world knows now, like Michelle Yeoh is amazing.
Yeah.
Like I know it's probably taken a while for them to figure it out, but she's always been amazing.
When I was doing this list, it was kind of in there, but for the wrong reasons. But my best sci-fi was Prey. So that was the best sci-fi for me. And anything that wasn't Prey is on the list of worst sci-fi, which I have everything, whatever, and Avatar both are in there because they're too long and I'm never gonna watch either of them.
Just one, Chuck.
No, they're in my bad list. They're in my worst movies of the year because they're too long and I'm never gonna watch them. So Prey is the best sci-fi and the worst is the one you just said, and Avatar.
I feel you.
So
I feel you.
Even
I'm
though I
on a
haven't
lot of
seen
lists like
either
that
of
too
them.
because I'm too long. Yeah.
Jose?
No, mine was also, it was the same as you
Everything
guys. You know, in an era of parody and repetition, this movie offers something fresh in there, and I'm always gonna go for that. So that was definitely my favorite sci-fi that I watched.
It was better than Prey?
Yeah. Yeah. To me, Everything Everywhere All at Once was my favorite movie of 2022.
What are you gonna watch more of that or Prey? When you're in the
Everything
rest of your
Everywhere All
life?
at Once.
The rest of
Everything
your
Everywhere
life?
All at Once.
Yeah.
Everything Everywhere
Yeah.
All at Once.
No way. That's a lie.
You haven't
In
seen
its
the
entirety.
I just said
You
it's my
haven't
new
seen
Big
the
Trouble in Little
movie.
China. I watch Big Trouble in Little China twice a year since I was like 5 years old.
Yeah.
So
I've
now
seen
this
this
movie's
movie
gonna
like
be up
4
there too.
times. I've seen
You've
it like
seen it 4 times already?
Yeah, the movie's amazing. It's really good. I
Isn't
saw
it
it
like
in
2.5
theaters.
hours?
I don't care. Every movie's 2.5 hours now. Like I got used to it.
Yeah.
Every movie's like 80 minutes now. I'm like,
Well, if
80
you're
minutes?
watching it times
Because you watch it on
2.
fast forward.
Yeah.
yeah. You know
And
what movie
they're
was
usually like
not? You know what
this.
movie was not 80 minutes? Ambulance. It was a solid 2.5 hours of cursing Jose. That's what that was.
It's a
Should have
fun
put it on
comedy.
1.5.
Yeah.
I did, dude. It still wasn't fast enough, dude, because it was on Amazon Prime, and I don't know how to like fast forward that one.
My worst sci-fi, probably to beat Firestarter. That was the movie with what the hell's his name? He was
Zac Efron?
Yeah, with Zac Efron. Honestly, there's absolutely nothing redeeming to say about this movie at all. It was just horrible in every sense. It wasn't interesting. The visuals weren't great. The story was not entertaining. There was absolutely nothing redeeming about this movie at all.
Give us one.
It was
You have to. I'm
probably-
forcing you to give us one redeeming thing about this movie.
There was fire.
Zac
Yeah,
Efron's chin.
Yeah, the credits at the end when they came in, they were moving pretty quickly, more standard quickness. So I feel that was a positive.
Nice. All right, George, hit us with your worst.
This was tough because like I didn't get to watch enough sci-fi, so this is on my worst, but it's not necessarily that bad.
Okay.
And it was Spiderhead on Netflix. They had Chris Hemsworth.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And this kid from
Miles
Maverick.
Teller.
Miles Teller, yeah. And also Journey Smollett was in it.
Mhm.
And like they all did good. Like it wasn't a bad film. It's just compared to every other sci-fi film I happen to watch, I guess this is on the bottom. You know, it's by circumstance that it's here.
It
But
was
I'd say
boring.
you can watch
Boring.
it. It's a mediocre film.
Yeah, I felt the same. Mine was Jurassic World Dominion. Terrible movie. Awful. I had low expectations and it was still worse than that. You had the original cast and you just wasted them. It had none of the magic of the original, and I actually felt bad that the actors were in it. I felt bad seeing Sam Neill run around and Laura Dern. It's just not good.
the only reason that one didn't end up my worst over Firestarter is that one had dinosaurs in it, and that's the only thing that put it above Firestarter.
Yeah, I haven't seen Firestarter, so that's the reason why it's not my worst. I haven't seen it yet. So yeah, okay. So thriller suspense. I'll start off with you, Chuck. What was the best thriller suspense movie?
Best thriller? Oh, The Menu. That was the best thriller suspense. And it was awesome because a couple months ago I just finished watching The Bear, right? So it's about like let's just say cooking and whatever, right?
Did you like The
So
Bear?
I'm like, The Menu, I heard that was good, but I never saw a trailer. right? So I'm watching it, and then the person I'm watching with is like, isn't there like some killing or something that goes on in here? And I'm like, is there? Because the first like 20, 30 minutes, they're just eating foods, all these different delicacies, and it's just, which was interesting. I was still interested. They're talking about the food. I'm like, oh, this is cool. It's like The Bear, kind of, but different. And then all of a sudden it just turned, and I was like, whoa. And I was like, wow. And freaking Ray Free Finds, dude's a psycho. He's one of the guys that if I actually ran into him in a dark alley, I would be scared. Even though I know he's an actor. Dude's freaky, dude. The Red Dragon. Was he the bad guy in Schindler's List? He was, right?
He's Voldemort.
Oh, I never seen
Voldemort,
any
yeah.
of that stuff. Yeah, but
He plays a bad guy often.
yeah.
He always plays
I'm
the
real-
bad guy.
Yeah.
So yes,
I'm
you're
gonna
right.
pick up on that now. Yeah. So
Yeah.
the menu to me was, what were we doing? Thrillers?
Yeah,
Yeah.
suspense thriller. Yeah.
Yeah, suspense thriller.
Okay.
I just watched that 2 days ago, and
What'd you think?
yeah, I
So
loved it.
yes,
right?
I definitely loved the movie. It gets so weird out of nowhere. I also never saw a trailer for it, so it just gets so weird out of nowhere. But it ends up being a good weird, like an intriguing weird, where you're
Yeah.
like, I want to know what else is coming. Where is this gonna go? And it became so unpredictable for a large portion of it. So I definitely agree
on that, I'm a contrarian. I just saw it yesterday. I thought it was okay. I didn't love it. I thought the characters were very surface level. They didn't go deep enough. I wanted them to go super dark on it, and I wanted to make it more bloody, more push the limits. You know what I mean? Like even John Leguizamo was in it. He was okay in it, but like his character wasn't deep. I wanted more. I wanted to see more. That was it. But I thought the movie was okay. It was good. It was entertaining. I don't think it has a high rewatchability for me personally. I'm not going to go back and rewatch it that many times, but it was decent. I like Anya Taylor-Joy. That's what I think about your best movie, Chuck.
Well, forget Dan, all right, Chuck, because I'm with you. That was
Yeah.
also my favorite. All right, I suggested that everyone watch it when it first came out.
Mhm.
I actually am very envious of you guys who didn't watch a trailer beforehand, because I think that's the best way to watch this film.
Yeah.
I did see trailers for it,
I did.
and even watching a trailer, you think you know what you're gonna get into, and you still don't know. I think that's a good job on who edited the trailer, and then the film itself, very well done. Did not even know it was Will Ferrell and Adam McKay behind it at first. And
I saw
thought that was
Adam
pretty
McKay.
surprising.
I didn't realize Will Ferrell was too. That's
Yeah, because
interesting.
they have a production company together,
Yeah,
so they
yeah.
produced it together.
Yeah, he was one of the cooks.
Yeah,
That's not working on us today.
we all watched the film.
It's working on me because I got blinded by the Kid Cudi thing earlier, and I'm like, maybe I can pull one on
Maybe
these
he
guys right
was.
now.
No,
His
I
hair
gotta
is
say,
legendary.
I watched The Bear. I watched this movie as someone who's worked in the food industry.
Mhm.
I felt it. I felt it 100%. You know, they both capture the intensity of being in the kitchen and just feeling the high stakes of like, if you don't get it right, then it's it. That's it. You feel like you're getting your head cut off. Like when I worked at a bakery, I actually had food thrown at me. And it took a lot of freaking strength
Damn,
to not
Jose.
kill that person.
Can I
He's
eat
throwing
it
his own
after
food
they
at him,
threw it at
Jose?
you, George?
Yeah.
It wasn't what I asked for.
George is like, it took a lot of strength for me to not pick up that food and eat it after they threw it at me.
No, he's going like
I
this.
was so hungry.
He's all,
I mean, that was when I was doing extra work, so yeah, I probably was hungry a little bit.
Yeah. Okay, Jose, you want to hit us? Your best thriller suspense movie?
Thriller suspense. This is where I put Prey
Hmm.
on this one, and
Yeah.
I mean, I loved Prey. I was always a Predator fan. I love Alien and the Xenomorph, but I was always more Predator than I was Xenomorph.
Mhm.
And the fact that this movie like brought it back to the roots, and it was just the hunt. It was all about the hunt, not about the extra stuff, and the parody between her and the Predator and how they were kind of using this. Everything about this was just so good. And it was such a pleasant surprise because honestly, I went in with low expectations due to the last couple of things that we've had of Predator.
Mhm.
That this gave me hope for reboots again. Just how well this was done. So definitely Prey was a top one for me.
Nice. I went with
That
the
was a
movie.
good choice.
I went with the movie Nope. I loved it. I understand if some people don't like it, but I loved it. It felt very more like a modern day Jaws. You have man versus beast, and you're in the domain of the monster. It was cool, man. I thought Jordan Peele did a really good job with the characters. Daniel, the main character that's in it, is such a phenomenal actor. He does such amazing acting with just his facial expressions and his eyes. Very well casted. Keke Palmer was good in it as well. I thought the movie just did really good intense, and they showed enough gruesome scenes in it. The whole monkey scene was one of the scenes that when I was just watching in just complete silence. It had a very impactful for me, that scene with it. And I thought the movie Nope did really good. So loved it, recommend it.
Also,
Worse.
one of the best shots. I gotta tack onto that. Like,
yeah, please.
Best night shots you're ever going to see in any film.
Mm-hmm.
No other film is going to tackle night shots like how they did. It's the best.
Yep, I absolutely. And then when you see the digestion of the thing, I won't go into too much spoiler talk with it, but those certain scenes that you would see inside the monster was just enough to give me the creeps about it, where I was like, oh, that's so good. Like, because he doesn't overshow his hand, just like Jaws. Don't overshow your hand. And I thought Jordan Peele did a really good job with it. So
Yeah, no, that was definitely a great movie. That was actually before I replaced it with, Everything Everywhere. That was my sci-fi pick.
Yeah.
Was that one. I love that movie.
Yeah, and that's the fun thing about these movies, that they're multi-genre. It probably is a little more of a sci-fi-ish, but I have other movies that I wanted to place in certain things, so you put them where you can. But that was good. So, Jose, you want to start us off with the worst thriller suspense?
My worst thriller suspense was Don't Worry, Darling.
Yes, that was mine too.
All of us,
especially
all of
us. Yeah.
Especially like with the big media storm and all the drama behind it and all that stuff before. If you're going to do that and it's going to go through all of that, you better be good, because now all eyes are on you. And this movie just was nuts. And it was, no matter how hard Pugh tried, because her performance was great. She killed it in this movie, but she was the only thing trying to hold this whole movie up, because nothing else really was working for it. So I think with the mix of the negativity going into the film and it not even meeting up to a mediocre film, made this the worst for me.
Agreed. George?
It could have been a really good. The concept wasn't that bad, too. It's just it failed on every front. I feel like it was over trying on a lot of things, where it was trying to be too artsy, trying to be too edgy, those kind of things. Yeah.
Chuck, any notes on it? Agreed.
Ditto.
So I felt the same way. Even the story was like a little tried. It's been done a few times. I thought the look of the movie and Florence Pugh were the only things that I took away from this that I really liked. I like Chris Pine in it, and he did okay for it, but just the story was bad. Harry Styles was so bad in this movie.
Yeah.
He was awful. His act, they need to stop. They're trying to make him as an actor work. I don't know, man.
By the end of this, when I finished the movie, I was like, this should have just been a Black Mirror episode.
Yeah,
and that's
Twilight
Zone
episode.
Yeah,
that's what I thought. That's basically what it was. It felt like they took the idea from a Twilight Zone episode or a Black Mirror episode, but okay.
Yeah.
So, best comic movie. So, who wants to start? Jose, you want to start us off? Best comic movie?
Best comic movie, surprise, surprise, for me is going to be The Batman this year. I really enjoy The Batman. I'm a big fan of the character. This movie was beautifully shot. In it is probably the best on-screen interpretation of Gotham City itself. So that was great. The movie just definitely was my favorite comic book movie of the year. And I do have a bias because I am such a fan of the character.
As you see, Batman poster, poster, the Joker, Batman books.
All right, George, hit us with your best.
There wasn't a lot of good superhero films this year. I think we should put that in there. If you're gonna ask me, there was almost every film was actually bad this year. Out of the bunch, the one that made it to the top was Doctor
TV
Strange.
shows. This is where I had TV shows in this question, but we're not doing TV shows on this episode because I thought some of the TV shows were better.
If there was a comic book
movies.
TV show, I would have something much better here.
Correct.
But movie-wise, Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness was probably the best for me out of everything. Its visuals were nice and stimulating. There was a nice horror elements added in thanks to Sam Raimi. So I thought it was really good. It managed to elevate the first one a bit. And granted, it had its flaws. I'm not gonna say there weren't flaws in there because there was,
Yeah,
but
but
I've watched it a couple times and I still enjoy it. I'm never watching the Batman again,
yeah.
ever,
Okay. Chuck.
ever.
Batman. Don't worry, George. I'll watch it one more time for you.
Thanks, buddy.
But for all the reasons Jose said, the Batman, and yeah, I might be biased because I love Batman because I am Batman. But yeah, the Batman was the best.
favorite?
What is?
It's Batman.
Batman.
Oh, hey.
Okay. So I went with mine is easily should be a sci-fi, but they had comic books on the character. This is where I put Prey, comic movie, just because they had comic books on Predator. That's the only reason why I went with this one. But I want to give a shout out
That's
to
well
Prey.
played. I should have done that. Prey,
Yes.
That's where my Prey belongs.
Technically, it's a comic book, so
yeah.
This is where I found Prey. Just to basically say what Jose said. I love the Predator. They did it so well, and placing it with the Native American, you go back to the primitive. That's why I love Nope so much. Man versus beast, and you're in the territory of the animal. Like, I love that. You're gonna get me every time, as long as you play it out right. Those are always gonna be one of my top favorite movies. So that's it. Worst, Morbius. Worst is Morbius. Is that everybody else's?
No.
No.
Okay, so Jose, if
No,
it is yours, piggyback.
It is mine. What is there good to say about Morbius?
Nothing. There's nothing.
It is everything about that movie was terrible, and it should not exist, to the point that people joking around about Morbius probably almost got it greenlit for a second one, and that is horrendous to even hear. But no, that might be one of the worst comic book movies ever, not just 2022.
You know,
I don't know. Elektra still happened. I don't know.
Catwoman still happened.
Catwoman happened still.
But it's like you're gonna hook up with a fat chick, right? And you are, right? And you hook up with her, and it's exactly what you thought it was gonna be, right? It's exactly what you thought it was gonna be.
Okay,
but then,
I'm with you on this analogy now. I'm with you. Okay.
But then you hook up with this chick who's super hot, right? And stuff just not where it should be. It smells, it's kind of loose, and what are you really more disappointed by? The fat chick that you already knew, or the hot chick that just didn't work? So what movie am I talking about? What movies am I talking about here?
You're talking about Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yes, I am.
Yeah. This question wasn't most disappointed, because that's a different question. We have that in another category. This was the worst one. Morbius was still worse than Thunder
But I get where Chuck's coming from, though. When you know it's gonna be bad, like, I think most of us didn't even want to watch Morbius. I think we all watched it because we knew it was gonna be bad. We're like, all right, let's see how bad this gets. Yeah. But we went into Thor: Love and Thunder thinking like, well, Ragnarok was amazing. This is going to be Ragnarok again, or something to that level of what an artist can produce, and it wasn't that. It was an utter disappointment.
But if you put them side by side, what's a worse movie?
I never want to watch either one of them again.
But you have to.
That's not the question.
You have to, George. You have to watch one of them again.
What's a worse movie out of both of them?
Oh man, I really hated Thor: Love and Thunder, though.
I really
understand how much I hated it.
I hated
it. Was bad.
It's
Keep in mind, I also don't like Ragnarok for what it does for the whole series. It's funny on its own as a standalone, but when it gets put into the whole organism of the MCU, it's bad. It's a bad movie.
Okay. So, George, hit us with your worst.
The Batman, Thor: Love and Thunder, or Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. All three of those films were horrible films.
Black Panther.
Come on, man.
Can't believe you're putting those three in the same category.
I know.
They're all bad.
Okay.
Because it could have been good.
Biggest disappointment. Chuck, hit us. What's your biggest disappointment?
Thor.
For
all the reasons I already said. Awful.
Fair enough. George?
Okay, so for mine, it was RRR.
Huh?
You're surprised that it did so well?
That this is the film that America finally warmed up to, like, Hindi films and stuff.
Oh, gotcha.
RRR? What's that?
It's a super hype. It's 3 hours. You won't watch it.
Yeah, you won't watch it. Yeah, it's 3 hours and 10 minutes. It's a television
film. About it.
It's all action. Yeah.
Chuck just added it to his worst because it's 3 hours.
Worst movie of the year.
No, it's a dope movie. You're gonna like it. You're gonna watch it when you watch.
Hit us.
Okay. So I'm gonna knock both of them out. Biggest disappointment was Thor: Love and Thunder, because I expected more and it was terrible. So that was my biggest disappointment. My biggest surprise was actually a Hulu movie called Fresh. It was a horror movie. That came out of nowhere and really surprised me. Ended up being a really good and entertainment movie. And Winter Soldier played a really good, creepy, charismatic character.
Yeah, Sebastian Stan killed it.
All right. So for me, biggest disappointment, Thor: Love and Thunder, same thing. My biggest surprise, I'm gonna go with Pinocchio, the Guillermo del Toro Pinocchio. Phenomenal, but I was surprised. Not that I loved it. I was surprised how much darker it went. The story went a lot darker than I anticipated. It even made turns that I didn't know that they did in the Pinocchio movie, but it went a little deeper than that. So it's not, even though kids can watch it, it went pretty dark, and there was a lot of storylines and story layers there that was a lot more adult centric. That just, it was surprising, but phenomenal movie. Loved it. Loved Pinocchio. Chuck, what was your biggest surprise?
Thor.
Again?
So you liked it?
I was surprised how awful it was. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. So hit us. What was your guilty pleasure of the year?
Mine was Deep Water with Ben Affleck and Ana de Armas. It was like Adrian Lin, who does like Unfaithful and all those movies. It's like a sexy thriller. Basically, Ben Affleck plays a cuck. He's a cuckold to his wife, and he ends up killing all her lovers. It's so awful, but it's so good. That was my guilty pleasure.
Okay. So, Jose?
My guilty pleasure of the year was Bodies, Bodies, Bodies.
Oh,
wow. Okay. Yes, guilty pleasure. Yeah.
Yeah. It was on. I wasn't even the one watching it. And then I kept looking out and I was watching, and then I was like, this is actually pretty entertaining. And it has a little twist in it that made it a little bit different. Not an amazing movie, but it was better than I expected and actually entertained me. That's why that's a guilty pleasure.
Okay. George?
Mine was Sonic the Hedgehog 2. I mean, just hearing it, that sounds like a guilty pleasure. That's
Yeah, it does.
It's way more entertaining than it honestly should be. Just like the first one, they should not be as entertaining as they are.
Yeah, I agree. Mine was Avatar 2. I liked it, but I laughed because so many people hate that freaking movie and hate the franchise and rightfully hate it, and I completely get it, but I still liked Avatar 2. It was pretty fun. Sue me.
Okay.
I was part of the
You'll be speaking to my
1.5 billion.
lawyers soon.
Yeah.
So what did I just watch? So Jose, hit us with that one. What did you have for that?
But what the hell did I just watch? It would have to be Halloween Ends
Oh my god.
for that one.
Oh my god.
That's a good one.
Especially having enjoyed the one before, I expected to at least be mediocre at worst, at least. And as the audience probably knows from our This Was Bad episode, the movie was completely horrendous and so much wrong with it that by the end of it, I was like, what the hell did I just watch?
Okay. George, hit us.
Mine was Crimes of the Future by David Cronenberg.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen that trailer.
Yeah. Because when you put this question in there, it made me think of like, oh, this has to be a movie. It's like, what is happening right now? That kind of movie, like Mulholland Drive. If you ever see Mulholland Drive, it's the kind of movie that makes you question, like, was that a good movie? I don't know. I think
that movie gives
to
me
be
so
good.
much anxiety.
I liked
Mulholland
it
Drive.
because it did that. Because it gave me anxiety and it felt
gives me
weird
so much
watching it.
anxiety. Like
Yeah.
all of it, the music, all of it gives me so much anxiety. But I love it.
You talk about Mulholland Drive.
It's a good
Mulholland
movie.
Drive, yeah.
Mulholland Drive is a
Crimes
good
of the
movie.
Future. Crimes of the
Oh,
Future
that was
is there are things that happen in that. It's
Okay.
Yeah.
So Chuck, hit us.
Just real quick, it was Don't Worry, Darling, and only because I sat through the whole thing because I went to go watch it at the movies, and I was like, the person I went with, because I wanted to watch it, right? So I was like, I want to see it. I want to see Harry Styles and Florence Pugh, right? So watched it. As soon as it ended, she was like, "You owe me $50," and I was like,
$50, Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, we got snacks and stuff. She's like, "You owe me $50," and I was like, "Fuck."
Yo, you should have been like, "Yo, Harry Styles, you."
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I was like, I'll sing to you.
So for me,
I mean, like in the movie, like what did he do to Florence Pugh through half of that film?
Oh yeah. All right. So I went with the movie Barbarian, not because Barbarian was bad. I liked Barbarian, but it was like a what the hell am I watching right now when the mother character is just diving at Justin Long and in the slow-mo flopping. I was cracking up. Like,
Yeah.
what am I watching? It was so many moments where I was watching where I was just like, dude, what is this? But in the best of ways, I was cracking up. Like, it was one of my top 3 favorite horror movies. I didn't put it as my favorite, but I really enjoyed it. But it is like, what the hell am I watching? And even when, like what George referenced, where I thought it was this character, then they changed the main character, then they changed the main character again. It's like, okay, what is the movie? What movie am I watching? That's how I felt with it, but it was good. The most pure fun, right? So most pure fun. I'll go real quick. There was one called Deadstream. Loved it. It had a independent horror movie. It felt very
good.
Evil Dead comedy. I've already rewatched it a second time. I thought it was hilarious, man. It was basically like a one-person camera on one guy, but he was so good in his role that he carried an entire movie on his own.
I had Bullet Train. I had Bullet Train for this one. The movie was just so fun all from beginning to end.
Yeah.
So
I changed mine to Bullet Train.
Okay. Jose or George?
I would go the Glass Onion.
Glass Onion was fun.
Yeah,
I
it was
changed mine
actually
to
really
Glass
fun.
Onion.
Yeah, I think it was a lot more comedy than the first one, and I enjoyed it.
Did that come out this year though, or last year? Was it the end of
It was
last
year? It came out last year.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just it's available now on Netflix.
Got you. Okay.
Yeah.
That was good. Okay. Now our most overrated movie of the year. Who wants to start off?
Black Panther.
Okay.
The Batman.
Overrated.
The Batman is the most overrated film of
No, it's
2022.
Black Panther. Black Panther sucked. It wasn't very good. It was boring and lame.
But everyone agrees with that. We all know that.
Yeah.
But
No, we don't
overrated
all-
means
we don't all
everyone
agree
loved
with
it
that.
more than it should have loved it.
Yeah. I go with the Batman as well. I'm with George on that. Not that I dislike the movie that much. Like I know George disliked it more than I did. I liked it, but I gave it like I think I walked away with like a 7. I think is what the score I gave it. It was good, but it wasn't great like at all. There was a lot of things wrong with it. But we did a whole episode review. So if you guys want to hear our thoughts on it, you guys can go ahead and watch
early
that.
on.
But
yeah, there's nothing wrong with that movie. So
that's why I call it overrated.
Exactly. Yeah.
So Jose.
My overrated movie of the year is The Barbarian. Yeah.
You just said that was your favorite horror movie.
No, I didn't.
Oh,
That was
you did?
that was Chuck and George.
Chuck and George said that.
Mine was
okay.
Pearl.
That's right.
Yeah. It's not all Hispanics look the same, Dan.
Yes, we all do. Yes, we all do.
No, it's The Barbarian. The first like third of this movie started off so well. The tension was so good. It had me curious of what's going on, the buildup. It was really, really good. And then it just goes off the rail after that. It just turns so generic. That tension is gone. It becomes very predictable during the last like 2/3. Once they do the character switch, and then our lead character for a while becomes someone who's very unlikable in a way. So it was just like, if that movie would have ended in the first third, I would have loved it. Yeah. But with the buildup and the hype they had behind this movie, when everyone's like, "Oh, this is so amazing," a third of the movie is amazing. 2/3 is just crappy.
Okay, so as you see, we all had different opinions on this. So this is our best and worst. This is the Nas official best and worst of our own picks of the movies of 2022. And we're going to be doing television coming up next as well. So please follow, like, subscribe, everything on our YouTube channel, Not a Strong Start. You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter, Not a Strong Start. I'm your host, 2022 Dan. You can follow me at King_Sangre.
I'm member Jose. You can find me at This Is Mi Nombre on Instagram.
I'm still disappointed at everything that Jose just said about Barbarian. You can find me at Chad Radwell 12.
And I am now Jorge Davato at Nicolopolis. Everywhere Nicolopolis is sold.
See? It's been so long since we recorded. I forgot how to end the show. Thanks, guys.
Peace.